Welcome to Big Dog Talk Sports. This is your boy Big Dog, and this is the Week 11 college football predictions. And we're also going to have the top 8 college football players in the running for the Big Dog of the Year. Let's go. Alright, man, so this week ain't too many major games happening unless a team pull a major upset, which I don't see happening this week. We have number 9 Alabama Crimson Tide facing number 11 Ole Miss Rebels. Have Alabama bouncing back after losing to LSU, beating the Rebels 41-27 on the road. Alright, we have a game between two teams you don't really expect to be ranked like that. You have the Tulane Green Wave, who's ranked 17th, going against the number 22 Central Florida Knights. Have the Green Wave winning at home 31-24. Alright, man, let's take it to the West Coast. We have the number 6 Oregon Ducks hosting the number 25 Washington Huskies. Ducks quarterback Bo Nix has turned it up ever since that 49-3 loss opening the season against the Georgia Bulldogs. For this season, the Oregon Ducks have been putting up 43 points a game. But Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr., he's one of the best in the country. This should be a great game. I'm going with the upset. I like the Huskies to win on the road, 38-34. I believe these teams, at least on paper, are evenly matched. I believe it's going to be a good game. I have the Huskies with the upset. Alright, so the final game we're going to talk about is number 4 TCU and number 18 Texas. This almost feels like a hit job. This game felt like the setup, man. It felt like a hit job. Now, of course, the schedule was already made in advance, so it wasn't planned like this, but it felt like a hit job, man. The TCU Horned Frogs, they're in the top 4 right now, and they can hold on. They can play in the tournament for the national championship. But the team they are facing, the Texas Longhorns, they are some frauds. And when I call Texas some frauds, I know they have 3 losses, but you can't tell me there's really 18 teams better than this Longhorns team. Now, they are 18th ranked, so they are what they are, but you can't tell me there's 18 teams in the country better than Texas. Well, 17 teams better than Texas. They lost to Alabama by 1 point, and low-key, they probably should have won that game. We ain't forget about them 2 points the referees cost them boys. Whatever, man. It is what it is. They lost to the Texas Tech Red Raiders by 3. I give you that. And then they lost to Oklahoma State. If I'm not mistaken, it was ranked 11th when they played Texas by 1 touchdown. But Texas, man, these guys, this should be a dogfight, man, between TCU and Texas. Texas won't be qualifying, playing the championship tournament, but I think they would love to ruin TCU's chance to make the tournament. I actually have Texas win this game at home, 38-28. And I'm a big fan of TCU's Max Duggan, but I think this is a setup game. I got Texas winning at home. Alright, so I'm only going to do predictions for 4 games for Week 11. But it's time to introduce the top 8 players in the country that's in the running for Big Dog of the Year. Alright, this list is not in any order. We're going to start off with quarterback for Texas Christian, Max Duggan. TCU right now is ranked number 4. They're undefeated at 9-0. Quarterback Max Duggan has thrown for 2,407 yards, 24 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, completed 66% of his passes. His most impressive game was against the Oklahoma Sooners, where he threw for 302 yards, 3 touchdowns, and also rushed for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. He scored 2 touchdowns on the ground, completed 70% of his passes. So that's quarterback Max Duggan from Texas Christian. Okay, another player we have up here is another quarterback, Stetson Bennett from the Georgia Bulldogs, who's ranked number 1 in the country, undefeated at 9-0. Stetson Bennett, man, 2,606 yards passing, 11 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. He also has 6 rushing touchdowns, completed 68% of his passes, had a big game versus the Oregon Ducks, where he threw for 368 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran one in for a touchdown, and completed 81% of his passes. So Stetson Bennett is one of the big dog player of the year candidates. All right, next we're going to go with Ohio State Buckeyes quarterback C.J. Stroud. He's led his team to a 9-0 record. They rank number 2 in the country. This man has thrown for 2,453 yards, completed 68% of his passes, 29 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. And he had an impressive game against the Michigan State Spartans, where he threw for 361 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. All right, man, quack. We have Oregon Ducks quarterback Bo Nix. The Ducks right now are 8-1. They're number 6 in the country. Bo Nix has thrown for 2,495 yards, completed 73% of his passes, 22 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, and he's also has 457 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns. He had an impressive game against UCLA, where he threw for 283 yards, 5 touchdowns, also rushed for 51 yards. Bo Nix, I'm pretty sure he's a Heisman candidate. He's most definitely a candidate for Big Dog of the Year. All right, man, we have North Carolina Tar Heels quarterback Drake May. He has the Tar Heels right now at 8-1. They're ranked 15th in the country. This man has been balling. He done passed for 2,964 yards, completing 71% of his passes, 31 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. He's also leading his team in rushing with 513 yards and 4 touchdowns. Drake May, man, he had a big game against Pittsburgh, where he threw for 388 yards, 5 touchdowns, had 61 yards on the ground. All right, man, we're going to talk about Michigan Wolverines running back Blake Corum. The Michigan Wolverines, they rank number 3. They're undefeated at 9-0. Blake Corum is a big reason for that. He's rushed for 1,187 yards, averaging 6 yards a carry. They reached the end zone 16 times on the ground. And he also has 1 receiving touchdown. He had an impressive game against the Maryland Terrapins, where he rushed for 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. All right, man, we got another quarterback here. We have Tennessee Volunteers quarterback Hendon Hooker. The Volunteers rank 5th. They're 8-1 right now. Hendon Hooker's been playing great. 2,533 yards or 71% passing completion. 21 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Also has 355 yards on the ground and 4 rushing touchdowns. Had his big game against the Alabama Crimson Tide, where he threw for 385 yards, 5 touchdowns, added 56 yards on the ground. And last but not least, LSU Tigers quarterback Jaden Daniels. The Tigers right now, they're 7-2. They rank 7th in the country. Jaden Daniels has thrown for 1,994 yards, completing 70% of his passes, 14 touchdowns to only 1 interception. He's also leading his team in rushing yards with 619 and 10 rushing touchdowns. He had a big game against Ole Miss, where he threw for 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, and also rushed for 121 yards and 3 touchdowns, completing 75% of his passes. Alright, man, that's the end of the video. Subscribe. Tell me what y'all think about leaving a comment. Share. Hit that like button. Big Dog out.